Well, after getting out of the construction site, whether you save or not, for the Malik, at this point, Adam Jensen experiences another glitch of his augmentations.
Again, such an important story point.
Yeah,
and we couldn't
again.
handle it very well.
Yeah, and you see, like, as you get out of the construction site, you see the NPC falling over
Yes.
the ledge of the balcony and the other ones around, but it never felt right. It feels more like it was a bug.
feels
But it's
like
even
it
worse
was-
than that
because
when
he
he
falls.
falls in the kind of scripted event thing.
Yes,
Yes.
And then when the scripted event ends, because he's not dead, the AI takes over, and he gets up and he chooses
And
one of
they all
the
go back.
idols, and he just starts lighting himself a cigarette. He's like,
Exactly.
And no one in the
happening, you know, like-
environment comments on it, and we didn't write anything.
Yeah,
to
nobody
handle
reacts
that.
afterwards,
We
and you didn't
totally
react. Yeah,
didn't handle
exactly.
any of that well.
So yeah,
So
it's
it
there,
would have
but
been
it's
better.
poorly implemented.
Yeah, I would have liked to have better handled it in dialogues and things like that. But by this point, we were so over our heads with how much writing had to be done
And
that
we had
it
to
was
finish the
really
game,
hard.
yeah.
And we had to finish the game, and it was
Yeah.
hard to stay on top of all of that stuff. So.
Not only that, but the positioning was a big problem because
Jensen, it's Pritchard. Have you been watching the news?
Been a bit busy, Francis.
Jensen, the World Health Organization is advising all augmented patients to check in with Lim. There's a problem with biotechnology.
The glitches I've been experiencing.
We've all had them. So far, I can't determine why.
You heading to a clinic?
I'm running a few more tests. But since I can't exactly run them on you, and we don't know when you'll be back, you might not want to wait. Up to you.
Yeah, well, we're coming close to the guy who tries to bribe us. Otherwise,
Recognizes you.
he recognizes us because at this point in the game, second visit to Angsha, we have been cornered by the bell tower guards and everything. So you're technically you're hunted in the city hub, and this guy recognizes you and he wants money. Otherwise, he will warn them. And the thing is that with the game. Gameplay we wanted for that originally was more closer to what was in Red Faction 1, the first game, where at some point you have to infiltrate a lab and you are disguised, if I remember well, as a scientist, but you had to breeze through the NPCs. If you did that, they didn't have the time to recognize you. But if you were spending too much time close to one, at some point you would wait a second, it's him. But we never managed to pull that off.
yeah, it was a little risky because we didn't really have that kind of gameplay in our game in general, so
Right.
it was hard to kind of pull off. But this little NPC addition was he was nice. He was a nice little change compared to what you would normally expect, I suppose. There's nothing really else like that in the game where someone will confront you and you'll have a choice to make with immediate repercussions. So it was interesting
And it was a great opportunity to use your punch augmentation.
and yeah, that too, especially.
Yeah, well, we're coming close to the guy who tries to bribe us. Otherwise,
Recognizes you.
he recognizes us because at this point in the game, second visit to Angsha, we have been cornered by the bell tower guards and everything. So you're technically you're hunted in the city hub, and this guy recognizes you and he wants money. Otherwise, he will warn them. And the thing is that with the gameplay we wanted for that originally was more closer to what was in Red Faction 1, the first game, where at some point you have to infiltrate a lab and you are disguised, if I remember well, as a scientist, but you had to breeze through the NPCs. If you did that, they didn't have the time to recognize you, but if you were spending too much time close to one, at some point you would, wait a second, it's him. But we never managed to pull that off.
Yeah, it was a little risky because we didn't really have that kind of gameplay in our game in general, so
Right.
it was hard to kind of pull off. But this little NPC addition was he was nice. He was a nice little change compared to what you would normally expect, I suppose. There's nothing really else like that in the game where someone will confront you and you'll have a choice to make with immediate repercussions. So it was interesting
And it was a great opportunity to use your punch augmentation here.
yeah, that too, especially.
So we knew with the game that we, because we're in the future and media is taking more and more of an overwhelming stance, I guess, in cities and in our society, that we would need all these billboards, all these ads and whatnot, and especially in Hangsha, because already in Asia there's way more of these things than in North America. We knew that we couldn't do as much as there is today, and so even way less than it would be in the future, but we still wanted to try to do as much,
And give the cyberpunk feel of that.
which is
comparison
totally
with, Detroit.
yeah, which is a total tie-in with cyberpunk visual culture, and a lot of these would have to be animated. So we had this problem of like, okay, we have all these billboards to produce. We all want them to be animated. How is that going to happen? You know, what are the limitations going to be? And the tech artist did a really good job of creating this shader that was almost like a small little video editing program inside a shader where we could have different layers of different things animated and have different palette effects and invert stuff and flip stuff around and make them rotate. And it was pretty good. And then if you go look at the DLC, you see that the artist had truly mastered this shader, because it's like 2 steps beyond what's in Human Revolution, and what they did with it is incredible. So pretty happy with that.
You want best in the city? Thank you. Easy. I got... Fortune. You look. Fortune.
Mr. Jensen, Hugh Darrow here. Please forgive this intrusion, but David assured me of your cooperation and discretion. I find myself in need of some assistance.
I'm listening.
A contact of mine, Meng Yao, is in Hengsha, waiting to fill you in. I'll upload her coordinates now.
You're see.
Access granted. Access granted.
Let's hope it's as good as they say. Mr. Jensen? Are you the man Mr. Darrow sent? Miss...
Really?
Your boss... Oh. Actually,
I don't get it.
because Miss...
Access granted.
So right now you may have noticed that you're being contacted by Hugh Darrow, and this is the start of a potential side quest. It was very important to us to have, of course, a lot of side quests, and we knew that as we were getting to the end of the game, that maybe we didn't want to offer as many so that you would want to get to the end of the game. But it was very, very important to us that you at least do something for Hugh Darrow. He's one of the main villains in the game, and we had a very difficult time getting him present in the game. And with the exception of one or two cutscenes where you get him, we really wanted you to kind of have more knowledge of who this guy is. And so coming up with a side quest that sends you on a mission for him, and in his own mind is his way of trying to convince you of his own view. That he's right. So when you pay attention to this side quest, he's actually giving you, as you do the side quest, and if you're able to use the social log in it, I think, against his agent, then you'll be able to find out hints about the end of the game and the high round project that's going on there. So right now you may have noticed that you're being contacted by Hugh Darrow, and this is the start of a potential side quest. It was very important to us to have, of course, a lot of side quests, and we knew that as we were getting to the end of the game, that maybe we didn't want to offer as many so that you would want to get to the end of the game. But it was very, very important to us that you at least do something for Hugh Darrow. He's one of the main villains in the game, and we had a very difficult time getting him present in the game. And with the exception of one or two cutscenes where you get him, we really wanted you to kind of have more knowledge of who this guy is. And so coming up with a side quest that sends you on a mission for him, and in his own mind is his way of trying to convince you of his own view. That he's right. So when you pay attention to this side quest, he's actually giving you, as you do the side quest, and if you're able to use the social log in it, I think, against his agent, then you'll be able to find out hints about the end of the game and the high round project that's going on there.
Access granted.
Well, now we enter in the Harvester hideout, like the group of Tang Siang. Actually, they were supposed to be scavengers in Bangalore, but since we cut Bangalore...
Yeah, we had the whole idea in Bangalore that Bangalore is like this technological city. It rose on the height of the technology boom, and then when it all fell apart, it busted. And so that you'd have these people who were scavengers in Bangalore who were taking the tech and repurposing it and trying to make a living off of that.
And they became the harvesters in Hengsha. And actually, they were inspired by the scavengers we see in the AI movie from Steven Spielberg, where all the robots are going to try to go for the parts they're missing. And that's why also the harvesters have all kind of those souped up augmentations and everything. And I think also that they're kind of they were supposed to be the organized crime that was really related somewhat loosely to the triads of the X1.
By putting all the events of Bangalore, by putting all the events of Bangalore into Hengsha, the return visit, we were able to beef up Tong Si Hung's crime organization. And since he's a reference back to DX1, his son Tracer Tong is part of the triads. So the harvesters became, the scavengers from Bangalore became the harvesters, who are part of the triad groups in Hengsha.
Oh yeah, in that way. Okay.
Access granted.
So here we're in the room where, depending on how it went with you guys, with trying to save Farida Malik or not, but if you failed, she ends up being dead on the table here. And originally, like now she's just dead there, but originally she had severed limbs and everything. It was more a gruesome scene to make it even more disgusting. Like
I think we even saw some of her like bowels sticking out.
Yeah,
It was really gross.
Yeah. But we had to modify it because we were not complying with the Japanese ratings for the game.
And I'm glad that we did, because I know that a lot of fans who failed to save her were absolutely super upset about this. And I remember one person telling me at a convention that he went there, and when he saw her body, he dragged her out of here. He searched through all the streets of Hangsha to find a safe place for her, because you do not leave a comrade behind.
Must have been a Marine.
Yes.
The cool thing about that room as well is that it's one of our great showcase of a bit kind of like underground black market. Augmentation thing, because it was an important theme in the game and in some of the stuff we wanted to do, but in the final product it ended up not being all that present. And in that room you really see like all the mess, the blood, the awkward tools, I guess, and stuff like that. So
the other side of the metal, basically.
Yeah,
There's good, there's all shiny and stuff, and then there's the aftermath.
That's it.
Which you don't see.
Access granted.
So there's not a lot of computers in the Harvester Hangout, but one of them in particular belongs to Tracer Tong. We needed to establish his presence, first of all, for the link back to Deus Ex, but also because you could have, in different versions of this, depending on what you do, you might be sent on a mission by Tong to rescue his son Tracer. And so we kind of tried to put evidence around through emails and things about Tracer, his connection to the Harvesters, and foreshadowing how in Deus Ex 1 he's going to end up being kind of anti-augmentation.
Yeah.
And so we did it, and one of the computers here in particular belonged to him.
And thanks to Steven, because he was the one really pushing for us to nail Tracer Tong, and you came up with, like, I can't remember, you had a document at some point about how to do it right.
It's because we had this bonus mission that we were adding, and I really wanted to put a lot of emphasis so that the real DX1 fans would be able to recognize, and people who aren't, they'll play, they'll enjoy it, but I really wanted to send at least a message. Devoted fans, like, here's some information about Tracer Tong that you might not have known about, or stuff like that. Just little throwbacks are always fun.
So because of you, we didn't screw it up.
Yeah.
That's far enough, Wilo. Tong.
You disappoint me, Jensen. I thought we were friends. Then my hacker goes missing. Half my men end up dead. And you don't even have the manners to knock when you enter a room. A lot of bell tower heavies looking for you. Any reason I don't just turn you over?
Yeah. Vasily Sevchenko.
Never touch the stuff.
You're wearing his arm. GPL device inside it. Let me straight to you.
Scavenged tech. Get you every time. Wrong woman, don't do that here. Sorry to say, the man I got this from wasn't in a position to complain. Bell Tower gave us his corpse a few weeks ago.
Bell Tower? Not Tai Young?
Tai Young's not the one grabbing people off my streets then giving me choice arg, so I close my eyes.
Sevchenko had 4 other scientists with him.
I'm not wearing any of them. So maybe they're still alive, and maybe I help you out with this.
Go on.
I've got a pretty good idea where Bell Tower's been dragging people. Problem is, bastard's got my son. And he gets a bullet if I step out of line. See where I'm going with this?
Where's he being held?
One of my harvester boys will tell you all about it.
So this dialogue that you have with with Tong Si-hung here was quite challenging to write in many respects. It was actually one of my favorites, but it was very challenging because we had to react to so many things. We had to react to whether you'd killed the harvesters. We had to react to what had happened to Ari Van Bruggen. And so there were all these variables that we had to do. And the one that we almost missed until the last moment was the fact that you might have played all of Hengsha 1 and Tong would never have met you. Because you could have snuck through the vents and eavesdropped on him. And I didn't catch that because the dialogue was always starting with, oh, you again kind of thing, like, oh, you've ruined all this. And how do we kind of explain that he doesn't know who the heck you are until you walk in here? So we almost missed it, but we caught it, and I was very happy that we did. But Tong was a fun character, very interesting.
And also at this point, like Tong, I mean, we just wonder how many players really make the link that the scientist Chevenko in the walk and talk at the beginning of the game that he has this really weird augmented arm, and now it's not Adam Jensen, Tong Si-hung has it right now. So because now you've played for about almost 20 hours, like to which extent, like
because we've never heard anything from the fans or forums or fan art or whatever in relation to that. So or even articles, reviews. I don't think
it's either nobody remembered it by that time. We thought it was bigger than it is, and people really don't care.
People were just like, oh, okay, cool. It's that.
Okay, been there.
That guy with the mustache at the beginning, that's his arm.
But the Movember guy.
Yeah, the Movember guy. The room as well is a good example of something that was important to us in the game. Sounds like all my stuff started with something that was important to us in the game. So this was also important to us in the game. Was every time there'd be something mundane, you know, like this is kind of like a boiler room or something like that, to always, not always, but as often as possible to give it something special. And if you look at all the dozens, hundreds, whatever, of light bulbs on the ceiling,
I love those.
It's a bit that. Say that again.
I love those.
You like them? Yeah.
So nice.
Well, see, there we go. Thanks. Yeah. That's kind of like that was the goal. It's like it's so commonplace in video games that. Hey, this is a boiler room. You know, here's a picture of a boiler room, and then you know the level end up looking just like a regular mundane boiler room. Or I don't know. The example I give all the time is you know, it has to happen in the lobby of a bank, and it just looks like a boring bank. Yeah. And we always try to make sure that those places would have some spunk nonetheless. And this is what these light bulbs do.
The rule probably is that a boring room doesn't have to be boring, right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
I want this for my bedroom ceiling.
I don't want to make it for you. Looks like a lot of work.
It must be expensive in electricity, though.
So here in Angsha, like a lot of people are talking in Mandarin and everything, and that was one of the things I wanted on the project. So since we were to travel around the world, I wanted the players to be able to feel the real place, like if they were
like
there,
they were really traveling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you go in a foreign country and you don't understand the language, you feel that you're a stranger, and that's the kind of feel I wanted to have.
And it made it an interesting challenge for us from the writing side because, of course, we had to a couple of challenges. First, we would always, of course, write in English, and then we had to kind of decide which parts would be in Mandarin and which would not, because you didn't want to. If the player was playing without subtitles on, because all the subtitles would be in the English, but if they weren't playing with subtitles, we still have important story information, important gameplay information that has to be communicated, and we have to do that, which is why you'll have a lot of the conversations as you're going through it. You'll see that there's an English person speaking to a Mandarin speaker, and that is going on in the game.
At some point too, Antoine, we had an augmentation, right?
Yeah, it's true. We had a long discussion about using an augmentation to actually actively translate Mandarin, or any language for that matter, that would be visiting. I think we cut it because it was
well, it got so big because all the signs would be in Mandarin,
Every
and do we
language,
now
yeah.
suddenly look at signs and we see the signs in English? And
just
that would have been,
it, we were
that would have
but that would have been awesome.
It would have been awesome.
With
but
the
it would have
augmented
been
reality and all that
really,
kind of stuff.
really hard.
Yeah.
Could have translated a translation into another language, and the subtitles translated from the.
And as it was, we had to get most of those translations done so quickly that we were having our receptionist translate all the dialogues, and I think we had artists who were actually doing all the signs.
Yeah, one of my concept artists, Deng Lu Yu, who's Chinese, did a lot of the translation, a lot of the Chinese signs and all that.
And imagine all the mess of queuing and this thing as well, translating.
So, yeah. And I hope for Chinese people that we did an okay job.
An okay job, yeah.
So we're close to the limb clinic in Angsha too, and now it's the recall has been going on where they ask people to get to the limb clinic nearby to get it fixed and everything. But Jensen has a conversation with Pritchard, and Pritchard leaves the door open for Jensen to make his call and everything. But when you look at it throughout the game, most people lie to you, and probably one of the few characters that don't lie to you are Pritchard and Malik. And Pritchard leaves it open, but I just wonder how many players just went without thinking too much. Oh, I need to get this chip fixed or whatever. And I'm not talking about our hardcore fans, because probably those are really paying attention to all the little details, but for the other ones around, I just wondered to
But
which
I do
extent,
remember specifically during one of the play tests where somebody was playing it and the recall happened, and this guy just sat back and says, "Oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to do this. Everybody in this game is lying to you. This guy has lied to me all the time." And I'm sitting there going, "But Pritchard never lies to you. He and Malik are the only ones who are always honest with you." But this guy was like, "No, he lies to me all the time. Everybody lies. I'm not getting that recall ship."
It's because he's such a jerk, you know.
Lovable jerk.
I'm talking about Pritchard, not the playtest.
Access granted. Access granted.
Unprecedented recall on all
Excuse me, Mr. Jensen? I am not. No.
I'm not sure if you've discovered this yet as you've been playing this game, but Human Revolution is full and full of Easter eggs. There are thousands of Easter eggs within this. And one of the Easter eggs that I was particularly fond of, that I didn't know about but was told by the artist, is that the level designers and level artists for Hengsha actually thought it would be really, really cool to put the codes for the storage units in plain sight. And you see basically next to the storage units. So as you're going through and you see all these storage units, all these garage doors, and if you look at the wall next to them, there are numbers all over the place. And the ones that are underlined inevitably end up opening up the storage units. So that I thought was a really cool Easter egg.
I worked so hard to find these bloody codes. They're
just there.
They're just there.
Well,
I didn't know about this.
I don't think a lot of people on the team knew.
One of the interesting things about that little Easter egg is that it gave a secondary way to give a code that was not a pocket secretary, which...
True.
As designers, we kind of had gotten fed up of pocket secretaries.
And as writers who had to write them, so did we.
Yeah. So exactly, we were a little fed up of people accidentally forgetting their codes and leaving them in pocket secretaries to be found. So this was a fun way to do it.
Smart little bastards.
Access granted. Access granted.
Keep running. Still watching case. You're going down!
You one of Tom's boys?
No. I just like hanging out in the sewers because they smell better than what I ate for breakfast.
So the Tongues mission was a pre-order mission that we did. Actually, that mission was born out of another map that we cut, which was the Bell Tower HQ in Upper Anksia, and this is where you had to go to save Tracer Tongue. And since we discussed, we cut Upper Anksia, and then this Tracer Tongue thing went away, but as we had to make this new mission, we were, wait a second, we can recycle what we cut for Bell Tower and do the Tracer.
Access granted.
So the Tongues mission was a pre-order mission that we did. Actually, that mission was born out of another map that we cut, which was the Bell Tower HQ in Upper Ancient, and this is where you had to go to save Tracer Tongue. And since we discussed, we cut Upper Ancient, and then this Tracer Tongue thing went away, but as we had to make this new mission, we were, wait a second, we can recycle what we cut for Bell Tower and do the Tracer Tongue.
We couldn't recycle
mission.
everything because we did
Yeah.
want to have in Bell Tower. We wanted to have more of the evidence about the Namir and Fedorov, and we were unable to salvage that. But we did get the idea of rescuing Tracer back into this area of the game.
Yeah, but you had to rewrite quite extensively the dialogues for that you already have planned for Bell Tower, which didn't fit anymore with this new environment, which was an old factory.
Yeah, well, the big rewrite for this was actually just the Tong sending you on the mission itself,
Okay.
and we had to rewrite his dialogue and explain away. If you didn't get this mission, we had to explain why he sends you off to the port without getting something in return for it. That was kind of, for us, the big rewrite on this. But then this got to add some interesting new dialogues for Tracer and for all of that as well. So it was a fun little thing to add back. Rolling.
One of the interesting things about Tracer when I was making this level was that I got a chance, to go back to Deus Ex 1 and look at some of his dialogues. And one of the things I actually requested was that one of the very famous quotes that Tracer says, I wanted Adam to say it to Tracer so that Tracer says it later on to JC, but
that's so cool.
But it was kind of like this little throwback that I really wanted to do that I thought was really interesting that for sure the hardcore fans would recognize. But I believe I also remember with Mary, you were a little hesitant to write about Tracer because...
Well, yeah, Tracer is such a beloved character, but he was, beloved from 10 years ago, and people have a tendency to remember
glorify.
differently than it actually exists. And I know that when because we had to write dialogues for Tracer in here, that he would be talking or even talking to Adam in the dialogues. And so the writer who I assigned to this, Anakin Slade actually, went in and he was listening to all the dialogues, and he was doing all those dialogues to try and get the tone. And I remember him coming back to me and saying, "Man, he's just flat as all get out, and there's no personality to him." And I'm like, "Well, you know." And he's like, "Can I give him some life or whatever? Because he's younger." And so it was a real delicate stepping stone that we had to walk there.
But I can't remember. Did we manage to get the sentence you wanted in there?
Maybe. Go check for yourself. Go in the go in the vent above his cell and park yourself there for a while and see if Tracer says something.
Father, how long is it going to take to break me out of here? I'm bored almost to tears. Locked up in an abandoned noodle factory. Talk about things not going according to plan. Father, how long is it going to take to break me out of here? I'm bored almost to tears. Locked up in an abandoned noodle factory. Talk about things not going according to plan.
You Tomes kid.
Rolling.
So here, Antoine, we see a building which is the munition factory for one of our weapons brand in the game, right?
Yeah, I think it's Steiner Bisley's factory.
And this ties in really well with a lot of efforts that we put in the game for all the company names and all the logos and all the brands and stuff like that, because you know it's a modern game. It's also cyberpunk and stuff like that. And when we started designing this game, we told ourselves, you know, it would make the game so much more credible. You know, you just look around you. I'm asking you people right now listening to this, just look around you, and you could see dozens, even hundreds of stickers and brands and logos and stuff like that, just in your living room or whatnot. And we wanted to reproduce this.
Yeah, we really wanted to anchor it into reality.
Exactly.
Make it believable.
And even if you don't notice them, I'm sure your subconscious does, because we're bombarded with these things, right?
Absolutely.
Continuously.
Like
And so this is cool because you've been playing with these weapons the entire game that have that brand, Steiner Bisley, and now you're in front of the
building that makes it. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I actually went into a lot of details for the weapons and some items as well, like the different kind of manufacturing techniques, like different countries making different kind of things. If you look at and the Americans, they do something different ways, and the Germans and the Japanese.
We had two sides for the guns, right? You named them. What was the names for the?
I'm a Russia actually, and Germasian.
Yeah.
Thing. It was like Germanic and Asian looking, like very slick, very high polish, like the Germans' weapons or the Japanese cars and stuff. And then you get the American was more stampy and quick manufacturers for lots of people. So the feelings of the textures, well, you probably know better about the shaders, but the actual feel of the weapons and some of the items reflect that as well.
And actually, like, this philosophy has been built before designing the guns, so we would inform the designers on how to. To
it's something that Antoine put together even before we got into the actual visual design.
Actually influenced the names a lot as well. I think one of the names, like more American brands, like very Texan stuff, and then you get the more European.
Like Steiner Bisley.
Exactly, it's more
sounds more
English or something.
European.
Yeah, exactly.
So Antoine, you were the mastermind behind it.
No mastermind, it's just an idea.
And
so humble.
So humble. A funny thing as well, there's 100 brands in the game, literally, and the brands were all, in terms of the names, were invented and created by one of our writers, James Swallow, a good buddy of ours. And
who's
English, which is why
it's not his fault.
It's not
he's just born that way.
We can't blame him for that. And also the logos themselves were all made by this genial graphic designer that we had at the time. His name is Timothée Lepetit, and amazingly he left on the weekend, and he designed every single the 100 logos, 100 brands. With different ways of having the logo as well for each brand.
More than one.
More than one logos for it. It was just insane.
They were all good looking.
And they were all good. I think we had like one or two that we changed, and that's about it. So crazy work.
So?
So right now you may have noticed that you're being contacted by Hugh Darrow, and this is the start of a potential side quest. It was very important to us to have, of course, a lot of side quests, and we knew that as we were getting to the end of the game, that maybe we didn't want to offer as many so that you would want to get to the end of the game. But it was very, very important to us that you at least do something for Hugh Darrow. He's one of the main villains in the game, and we had a very difficult time getting him present in the game. And with the exception of one or two cutscenes where you get him, we really wanted you to kind of have more knowledge of who this guy is. And so coming up with a side quest that sends you on a mission for him, and in his own mind is his way of trying to convince you of his own view. That he's right. So when you pay attention to this side quest, he's actually giving you, as you do the side quest, and if you're able to use the social log in it, I think, against his agent, then you'll be able to find out hints about the end of the game and the High Round project that's going on there.
You must get that chip back.
I got the chip.
Excellent work.
How about you tell...
Blackmail?
I get that you're in a tough position. You feel you'd be betraying your employer's trust by giving me proprietary information. But Seraph and Dow are friends, and they sent me here because they both trust me. You should too.
Trust you? This is business, Mr. Jensen. And in business, trust is a word with no meaning. Now, will you...
It seems David has a flair for choosing his people, Mr. Jensen. You have done me a great service today.
Glad I could help. I just wish I knew what this was all about.
You never know, Mr. Jensen. One day, you just might.
Access Access granted.